The Nissan Micra was somewhat of a fan favourite super mini and used to look like this. But with a short stint on the sidelines, when the Micra was to make its return, I think it's only right it got a well-deserved makeover. And Nissan have done exactly that, with this, the all-new Nissan Micra. A complete transformation fitted for a super mini that holds such rich history, from its first generation way back in the 80s up till now. The Micra has quietly been improving, resulting in an all-electric Micra. Now the Micra might be built on a similar platform and share similar characteristics to the existing Renault 5. But part of me think it suits it, because if you cast your mind back to the first or even second generation of the Nissan Micra, then it shares similarities, where it reverted back to that boxy shape. Then if you were to look towards the third generation Micra, and it shares so many similarities, rounded off LED headlights and a curved front. And with 18-inch alloy wheels housed across all three trim levels of the Micra, as first impressions go, it certainly knows how to make a statement, and that is reflected at the rear. You have same style LED light design, rounded off like those. Also like how that Nissan branding is brought out to you with the contrasting black paint. Overall, it's a smart looking car. Some people might not be a fan on the fact that it's built on the same platform as the Renault 5 and shares so many similarities. For me, I think it suits it. It's a really good looking EV. Now, there's also an area of the Micra that I don't have too many complaints about, which I'm kind of surprised of, and that's its boot capacity. If you look at its exterior dimensions, you might think that this area would be practically non-existent. That's kind of where you're wrong, because underneath your tailgate, you'll get 326 litres. Now that's not huge in the grand scheme of things, but if you put that into perspective, a hybrid Nissan Juke will provide you 354 litres, so not too dissimilar. But there is a catch though. The rear seating is fairly cramped. Legroom is pretty limited, and anyone a little bit taller than me, which isn't hard, would be a bit of a struggle. Headroom, very few and far in between. It is comfortable. You will get rear privacy glass, and the seats are spongy. Headrests, not too rock solid, so no complaints there. But then there is a lack of storage. You have a tiny pocket in the door, none in that centre console, and there's no fold down tray table. Short trips, fine. Young children, absolutely fine, as there are ice fix points either side. But if you have some 6-footer teenagers who are just sprouted up and hit puberty, then I think they'd complain a little bit. This certainly won't be a first choice family car. Secondary car to your family household, absolutely perfect. So great runabout vehicle, and prices aren't too expensive. But anything more than throwing your kids in the back and nip to the shop, rear passengers might not be best pleased. But I do think the front seating certainly makes up for the limited amount of legroom in the back, because the all-new Nissan Micra has a bit of quirk about it, brings some retro vibes, but is still very modern with the tech that it provides you. As for practicality, and considering this is a super mini, and in today's car world that's influxed with SUVs, there's not many of these knocking about. It fares pretty well. You get decent amount of storage in the centre console, which houses a nice place to store your phone, incorporating a wireless phone charger. You'll get 2 USB-C sockets down the side, as well as a little bit of storage under your centre armrest. And for me, one of the best parts about the Micra, actual climate controls, functional buttons in a 2026 car. And to some people that might seem a little old school, a bit retro. For me, I think it's ideal. It's kind of what you need. I don't want to be fighting around this infotainment screen, reaching over here, when I can just do, getting a bit hot, flick it on, turn the fan speed down, job's a good un. Steering wheel feels nice in the hands. It has 2 different sections of materials. It looks great and is very easy to adjust all your adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist settings, as well as your drive mode selector, which I think's perfectly placed. One thing to note about the drive mode selector, which I kind of love, is a bit of a quirky feat, is when you actually change between the different driver modes of sport, personal, comfort and eco, your ambient lighting in the interior actually syncs up to whatever driver mode you're in. I think that's a nice little feature. The only part about this steering column that maybe not the greatest fan of is how, not necessarily cluttered, but how much is going on around here. You have your automatic gear selector, You have your windscreen wiper controls and your volume controls and to change your radio station all down here. Yes, you can change the volume and all that in the infotainment screen, but ultimately you kind of just want it on the steering wheel within reach. I think once you get used to it, won't be the end of the world. But I just think when you first look at it and there's 3 stalks going on, you're kind of a bit like, that's a bit much, isn't it? You will get regenerative braking paddles either side of the steering wheel, but they are kind of neatly tucked away and they kind of don't take up much room, if I'm being honest. Easy to use. And despite it having somewhat of a retro vibe, the climate controls with design of the seating, it still feels like a modern car. You'll get a 10.1 inch infotainment screen with Google built in, meaning you get access to Google Play Store and Google Maps, all from its entry level, as well as digital dash. Now the base spec Nissan MICRA will come with a 7-inch digital dash. The mid and top spec will come with 10.1. I just think it looks seamless across that dashboard. It feels like it's in 2 sections, but it's also integrated at the same time. I like the fact you can house the Google Maps in your digital dash. You don't necessarily have to. That can be customized to whatever your preference being. But I think having the Google Maps in there, it kind of feels like you got a head-up display when you technically don't. Infotainment screen's good. It's really responsive. If you have sat in the Renault 5 or even any of the other Renaults, then it is very similar. But works great. No complaints from me. On top of that, you will get Google Assist built in, meaning if you need to change your location, someone's phoned you and gone, actually, I need you to go to this place at work, and you're like, oh, for God's sake, rather than to pull over or being unsafe and actually changing your sat nav while you're on the motorway, you can use the voice assist. Direct me to Wembley Stadium.
All right, Wembley Stadium.
Much easier than having to type that out. With the all-new Nissan MICRA being a fully electric supermini, you're probably looking at it thinking small car, small battery, little mile range. Well, as technically, we're a little bit wrong, because you can either choose from a 40 or 52 kilowatt hour battery. Opt for the 40 and you get mile range up to 196, opt for the larger 52 and you can get 257. Not only that, all trim levels and powertrain options will come with an onboard heat pump, meaning your mile range will actually be 257 or 196. Putting on your climate controls won't affect that at all. As for its recharge time, where you can actually get from 15 to 80% in around about half an hour, which is almost as quick as its 0 to 60 time. Because the MICRA can provide the 0 to 60 time in as little as 8 seconds if you opt for the extended range housing the 52 kilowatt hour battery. Go for the smaller one and you still get 0 to 60 in 9 seconds, which for a car of this size will seriously feel a lot quicker than it actually is. 0 to 60 in 8 or 9 seconds for an EV in this day and age, on paper might seem slow, but in practice, it's more than enough. You'll have enough speed and enough torque and enough give and go to pull out of roundabouts, to join motorways, to enter slip roads. You won't be nervous driving the MICRA, put it that way. And that certainly helped with how safe the MICRA actually is, which is kind of what you'd expect from a Nissan in this day and age for it to be full of safety features. Depending on your spec and trim level, you can get the likes of adaptive cruise control stop and go, lane keep assist, blind spot detection, rear view camera, and even ProPilot with Navilink. The car won't necessarily drive itself, but it will do some of the heavy lifting. You will get the likes of emergency braking, rear cross traffic alert, which means if you're reversing and a pedestrian quickly runs out behind you, the car will automatically brake. Overall, incredibly safe. So then, the all-new Nissan MICRA. The biggest change the MICRA has seen in its long history. A complete new look and now all electric. But it still stays true to what the MICRA aims to be. An affordable super mini, which you won't get bored of. And if you want to find out more or book a test drive, then contact your nearest Glyn Hopkin Nissan dealership.